Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, she is the ultimate rock star. I know our fan base absolutely loves her. From when we first brought her on years ago, from MLB.com, MLB Network, the great Sarah Langs is with us. You look great. How are you?
I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here with you guys and everyone. I mean, I have not been to the winter meetings before. So this is the first time I am seeing the energy, the excitement, all of it. I love it.
You had never been to the winter meetings?
No, never.
This is like a total hangout that you would love.
Yes.
It's all of us baseball nerds in one spot.
Exactly. And in the middle or in early December when no one else is talking about baseball, but we all are.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfect.
Somebody said if something happened to this building that there would be no one to cover baseball anymore because we're all here.
Oh my goodness, that's true and terrifying.
Well, you've been making the rounds. You've had a long day. You've been everywhere.
Not quite, but I was on MLB Network earlier today. Nice little 8:45 local, which is great. I will always wake up to talk baseball, always. So, really grateful to be here.
Yeah, the time change has messed with some of you. It's like all of a
Not
sudden,
you.
yeah. For us, we're rocking and rolling it. We were talking to people. People are like, "Man, we're like going to dinner." And we're like, "It's really like 12:30 our time." So it definitely changes on you.
Exactly. But it's fun. You know, I was out here for the first time for the draft combine back in June. I'd never been to San Diego. I love it. I love all of the baseball and the restaurants and everything being kind of self contained in this little area. It's really, really nice.
All right, give us the New York perspective. What was it like? Jacob deGrom, this guy that's been your guy. deGrom's the best pitcher, Cy Young Award winner, but yet you babied him all these years. And then now, after all of that, he just says, I'm out of here. Didn't even want to listen to a final offer from the Mets and just sign with the Rangers. What was that like?
I mean, you know, I thought it was fascinating the way there were no leaks. There's so few contracts these days where, you know, you get a rumor or two, but then all of a sudden the team announces it. And you know how rare that is. The only other franchise I can really think of that's able to do that in this day and age is the Atlanta Braves. They'll announce a contract extension, no one even knew it was on the table. But that was really the first thing that struck me was how close-lipped, tight-lipped, whatever you want to say, everyone really was. But you know, I can give the my dad's a Mets fan, my best friend's a Mets fan. There are Mets fans around me, and there was definitely some emotions with that. But overall, I mean, how can you not be happy for the player? That is an outstanding deal for him, and if he's healthy, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question. It's just that whole if at the beginning, and we'll see. But you know, I love it for Bruce Bochy really getting there. And here's that winning culture. They got, you know, Marcus Semien last year, Corey Seager. Now they're going after pitching just within the last, hour.
Yeah.
We saw Andrew Heaney there as well. And I would love to see them be competitive. I'm sorry to the A's fans. I'm looking right at the camera. But I really think that the tenor of this division could be different next year, which could be really fun.
You know, when you think about the AL West, and I've heard it a couple times today, we've heard about it on this show. When someone says, the AL East is the best division in baseball, and and you can make a case for how exciting the National League West has been. But when you think about the Houston Astros have been to the ALCS 6 straight years, 4 World Series, they've won 2 of them. You look at now the Mariners have become a very good team. You still got the, however you want to put, train wreck, whatever you want to call the Angels, but they're still super interesting. Now the Texas Rangers, all the money, you're talking about 3 players. It could, if options and everything hit, the money could be up to $800 million in 3 players. I mean, you look at the AL West, it's a pretty interesting division.
It is. And, if the Red Sox don't re sign Xander Bogaerts and they don't make a different splash, then all of a sudden the AL East isn't looking the way it has over the last 10 years. And the Orioles are on the rise for sure. The Rays are always competitive. Blue Jays are there. And of course, the Yankees. But I could see us having this conversation a year from now after everything the Rangers have done. Maybe the Angels go out and get another pitcher, and it may be neck and neck. But I do think this becomes one of those divisions where you're going to get some parity from people in who they're picking as the playoff team. I mean, everyone's going to have the Astros winning the division,
Yeah.
but you're going to see people saying Mariners wild card. Some people are going to believe in the Angels and have them, and you're certainly going to have people thinking the Rangers as well. And it's just fun to see that from a division.
You know, one thing that I have not heard since we have been down here, and I'm kind of shocked, just nothing on Shohei Ohtani.
I saw one report earlier today. I got an alert. I forget who tweeted about how some of what the Dodgers are doing this offseason is about biding their time because that's who they want next offseason. And I think that makes sense. I mean, in my mind, I was sort of expecting that even before it was reported. I mean, that seems like the type of move that Andrew Friedman would want to make. That seems like the type of player who, I know he's already in Southern California, but I feel like the Dodgers could really elevate him to that next level. So we'll see. And by the way, they've done a good job with guys like Evan Phillips and Andrew Heaney. I mean, a bunch of these guys, Tyler Anderson as well, of kind of being the Rays light in terms of fixing pitchers, right? Shohei Ohtani doesn't need fixing. So imagine what they could do with him. I mean, that would be something else.
You know, I think about it. So a buddy of mine with the Dodgers came by, said hi, and we got to talk. And I was just like, man, that was a brutal ending. Like, you win 111 games, you have all these expectations. Next, you're getting dumped by the Padres, a team that you've dominated. And he goes, it's still hanging over the organization, this like loss, this sense of unfulfilled because they had such great expectations. And he just goes, he says it's like still there today. And you just wonder, I mean, we haven't heard anything from the Dodgers. They've got so many different guys they got to replace. I mean, they've got to do something after last year. And I know you can want to wait for Ohtani, but, you won 111 last year, and you got a lot of business to do. And I know you want to start promoting some young guys, but Walker Buehler's out. You got your whole left side is gone. Your center fielder, who was once an MVP, you let go. I mean, they've got a lot of holes.
They do. It's interesting. I mean, they've really built this incredible depth over the last few years. And you had the fact that Max Muncy, Chris Taylor's of the world were kind of those bit players who they turned into stars. And they managed to sort of lose that next level when those guys became everyday players and they didn't have that next sort of level of guys coming through. And I feel like that's what we saw this year. They won 111 games, they were outstanding, but there were times when it felt like they couldn't hit. And you kind of saw that with the players they were calling up. So, to your point, I agree. They do have a lot of holes. We'll see what they do. And of course, you can't wait till next year. But they're the Dodgers. They always seem to make that move when they absolutely need to. So maybe they just need a little more urgency here.
Well, I look over at the set for our New York Yankee fans because if you weren't here in 2019, but this was the exact same setup. Last time we had the winter meetings, we were in the exact same spot. You had the Yankees right to the right. Garrett Cole signed, place went ballistic. John Heyman is now reporting that it looks like Aaron Judge is going to go to the Giants.
Wow.
Now, who knows? But we have not seen our buddies over here at the Yes Network go live all day today. All day. It's too.
Is it coming?
It's 2:30, and they haven't gone live at all.
Oh my gosh. I
They
have 2 texts from my mom. I'm not going to read them on air because I don't know what they say, but I've mentioned she's a big Giants fan. That would be something. And that'd be something if the Yankees were to lose him. I was looking into stuff the other day. There have only been 3 reigning MVPs to change teams that offseason. 2 of them were traded. Alex Rodriguez after '03 from the Rangers to the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton after 2017 from the Marlins to the Yankees. And the other guy to change teams was a free agent named Barry Bonds, who went in 1992 from the Pirates to the Giants.
wow, that's interesting.
His name keeps coming up this offseason with every sort of comparison of a big free agent going there. And there's historical stuff too. I mean, you look at guys to lead their league lead all of baseball in home runs and then change teams. You have that. I mean, there's a lot there. So it's pretty interesting. I looked up for my mom the other day on a whim. She came over hanging out with me. She said, I don't think the Giants have ever had number 99. It's true. So if he is there, if he does wear 99, he would be the first.
Giants have never had anyone big enough to wear 99.
That's true. You need those big shoulders for that. I mean, that number carries a lot of weight.
I mean, you're talking about the largest. I mean, he's basically built like an offensive tackle. Like he could be an offensive lineman
Yes.
if you put a little more weight on him. He's that big, or call him a super huge tight end. It's kind of been what's been hanging over the heads of everybody, because if you have all this money that you want to commit to Judge, whether you're the Giants or the Yankees, you then can't make other moves because
Yeah.
there's so much into one guy. But that may be complete. Like let's say this comes down, because right now, if you can see, but can they see behind us? See behind us down here, NBC Sports Bay Area from our neck of the woods is starting to line up, and they're starting to look like an announcement. So Gabe Kapler is joining them. So we're going to see if that actually breaks. But once that's done, once he signs, now you got to focus all this money to a bunch of other people now, like the dam breaks.
Well, that's the domino effect. And, I was thrilled when we got some moves on day one with Trey Turner and everything going on there, because I was worried that we were not going to see any big name sign until Judge did. So I'm glad we've seen some. But after this, I mean, then everything's open, right? And we'll have to see. I mean, I am really curious to see what the Yankees would do if he does leave, because the rest of that lineup hit about 230 in the second half and slugged about 400.
Awful.
And of course, their lineup is not just take Judge out of it. They have guys to call up. There are other players, but they certainly would need to make some sort of move. People have talked about some of these shortstops with someone there makes sense. Does Brandon Nimmo end up being? I mean, I don't even know. There's so many things to think about when you're trying to replace, again, those big shoulders and that big number.
Let's end on this. What's it going to be like in New York if Aaron Judge signs with San Francisco?
I'm fascinated. I mean, I find the concept of fandom fascinating. It's the only reason we have a job, right? Because people are fans and they want to know stuff about teams and how this is all going. But I always find the anger to be interesting, because you don't know these people. You don't know their lives. They're making a decision for their family for the next, 9 or 10 years of their life. And I saw on Twitter and I heard anger at Jacob deGrom, and I'm like, you don't know this individual. So that is my plea to any Yankees fans, to be kind and be nice. But, we'll see how they react. But one thing I love about this offseason is the balanced schedule next year. Every team is going to play every team. Every free agent is going to play the team that he spurned, or whatever you want to say. And even if it isn't a road series this year, it will be next year. So we will get those live in person reactions, and I'm really excited for that.
And if you don't sign someone like Judge, boy, you got a lot of money to spend somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe probably the best move to really, putting all your ducks in one guy never works.
Yeah.
Taking that money and spreading it out, making yourself a completely better 26-man roster. So I know Yankee fans will be mad or Giants fans are going to be mad, but once this decision's made, this now opens it up for a lot of other guys.
Yeah. I mean, we should then see Bogarts and Correa and these other big names out there. And the next level, the Nimos, everybody else. I mean, Michael Conforto, who hasn't played in a year. Hopefully, once this move happens, we see that because now these teams know, okay, he's not an option. So what's next? What's plan B?
Yeah, Conforto, when I had like forgotten about him, and all of a sudden I saw on one of the rumor things that Seattle was interested in him. I went, yeah, man, I mean, you can have interest, but I hadn't played in a year.
Well, I mean, injuries happen. You can't fully blame him for that, but we'll see. I mean, at his best, he had a really good year in 2020. There are a handful of Mets who had very small sample size good years that year. And it's always interesting to see how that's going to parlay into the future. Dom Smith is an example of a guy who it didn't work out and now he ended up being non-tendered. But at his best, Michael Conforto was a pretty solid hitter. So he's certainly going to help some team, but that's not your next, okay, we didn't get Judge move necessarily because of what you said, because you don't know what to expect, because he hasn't played in a year. But hopefully he's fully healthy. I like the Seattle rumor because just like this potential Judge thing, that's home for him. He's a Washington State guy. He's from up there. I think his dog is named Griffey or something. I think I saw that once. Or Junior. I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure. So, I always like those storylines. Why not? You get the whole family at the ballpark every day.
I love it. The rumors. Well, his dog's name's Griffey. There's a good chance he may be going to
Check
Seattle.
on Instagram. I think it's true. I think I saw an Instagram of the dog.
Dog is named Griffey. What's your schedule like the rest of the meetings?
I'm done with MLB Network, so I'm just kind of around reacting to whatever is going on. I got like 15 tweets going to my head right now for if that Judge move happens, and we'll see what else we get.
Well, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, we're literally going to be on from basically 9 to 4.
Okay. I mean, as we discussed this live on air, I'd be glad to come on.
Because I would love, because if this goes down and this is real, I mean, if it is it?
Heyman now saying he jumped the gun.
But so, if this goes down, I mean, because really, I mean, think about that. You've got $300+ million by the Yankees and $300+ million by the Giants that's in limbo right now. That once you lose out, you got to figure out where you're now going to go spend all that money, which now means where's Carlos Correa? I mean, you'd be shocked if Bogarts ends up in San Francisco or Dansby ends up in San Francisco or vice versa. And I mean, that could really, we could now see some spending going, but we got to wait till the big boy signs.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get that soon. I see lights maybe going on around us a little bit, and we'll see where that all ends up.
Well, let's schedule something for tomorrow.
Cool.
The great Sarah Langs joining us right here on A's Cast Live.